Well, good afternoon. Welcome to Doing Life with Sam and Kiri, and we endeavour to just chat, talk. Usually we bring quite a themed topic, but today we do have a kind of a themed topic, but it's more, I suppose, a bit more down to earth. We're going to try and talk with each other rather than
discussion.
Rather than just go like this and talk to you and then. What do you mean? Hey, would it be real? Don't tell. She just said, "Don't tell them." Hey, I will tell them whatever I want to. I will say and speak my heart transparently, and I will not be governed by anybody. But the topic,
funny.
kind of roundabout topic today, is all-round consistency in life.
Yes.
And we never promise that everything's going to be rosy and it's just going to work every time. But if we be consistent, or consistency breaks resistance.
Yes.
And that's a good one. So, yes, honey. Let's have a talk about that.
Hi guys, so good to have you join us this afternoon, our weekly check-in. We enjoy this, you know. I'm not gonna, like, sometimes we're like, what are we gonna talk about on the show today? But I think, you know, often there's a lot of things stirring within us, or things that we're being challenged with. So
Yeah.
we do our best to come and hopefully have a bit of thought-provoking discussions, but also encourage and inspire you as well. So yeah, we were talking about that today, Han. We were talking about the consistency in and out of season, and how it's not easy. And so I guess probably, like, we could probably start with like a bit of the determining factors that make you, like, what makes you consistent? Or well, first of all, for you, how do you stay consistent? And this is in all areas. Like, I think about our marriage, our relationship, in ministry, serving. You know, obviously you preach week in, week out. You know, building the church is something that we've been a part of for many years of our life, but specifically here in Australia, 7 years. So how do you, what do you think some of the things are that keep you consistent?
Number one,
in and out of
number
season?
one is obviously there's a bigger purpose. So you've got to look at the greater dream, the greater vision. If you're focused on yourself and just what you need, then you'll conk out. But when you know that God's got a greater purpose for you, you're doing it for your kids and your family, for your wife, and to advance the generations to come, it drives you. Some of the tangible, you know, in the Bible it says, Paul says, imitate me as I imitate Christ. And I think of my father, and his life has been a story of many ups and downs. And I just said to my wife this morning as we walked around the Oxenford Lake, I was like, see, I dropped in that. We went for some exercise this morning. But
well done.
Yeah, just trying to drop some, you know, some gems of... Anyway, was that my father is consistent, very consistent, and mum, but they're both very consistent through the ups and downs. And you've got to remember that, you know, there's been a lot of seasons they've been through that haven't always been the best. And friendships change. People around you change, but one thing that remains is the purpose of God, and that has kept them driving forward. So, look, when I feel like having a little pity party about, oh, poor me, and this, I'm like, oh,
I need a sabbatical.
Oh, no, you're all good, bro, like, you know, in comparison to other things that you've seen. So, that's a few little things.
True.
But, hey, we had a big situation this week.
We did, actually.
We
did have a big situation. A scary situation, actually. So this is a bit of a topic shift, actually. But
I was thinking about the kids and family.
I think it is. We're keen to share that with you guys. So on Saturday morning, well, I just want to bring up something about consistency, actually, because this actually does tie in. So for the last over a month now, well, 38 days would have been this morning, I made a commitment and started what do we call Miracle Morning. So where that comes from is there's actually a book called Miracle Morning. If you guys are like, what's this Miracle Morning all about? It's actually a book called Miracle Morning. And it really just talks about pretty much starting your day right, and 6 key steps that can help you really establish a great morning and to win your day. So Miracle Morning is and I made a decision. I've known about this for like over 2 years now, but I'll be honest, I hadn't implemented it and I've been consistent with it in my life. So 38 days ago, I made the decision that I wanted to start Miracle Morning and I wanted to be consistent with it. So I started Miracle Morning. So that consists of me getting up at 4:45, 4:45, that would be amazing. 4:45 every morning, kicking off my miracle morning at 5. And so I've been doing that for consecutive, like every day, Monday to Sunday, like no day. My hashtag that I sort of told myself, which was to keep me consistent and committed, was hashtag no days off. And so every morning I've been getting up and I've been loving it. You know, my miracle morning consists of prayer or worship, reading, affirmations, goals, vision, and gratitude. And then it finishes off with like exercise. So I've been enjoying that, and my hashtag no days off meant so much more to me on Saturday morning. So anyway, I just want to, sorry, I'm throwing in a few things here, but it all kind of marries it all in, and it's going to tie up into a nice little ribbon, and you'll get it. So the other thing too is, like, one thing that I've been thinking about is sometimes God's going to inspire us to do things that might shift our plans. And so my miracle morning is a non-negotiable, and I had seen that some of our Ormo crew, Juan and Mel and Sean, were praying every Saturday morning. So I thought, hey, I'm keen to jump on that as part of my miracle morning. So I messaged Mel during the week, and then Friday night, she was like, Pastor, we meet up at 5:30. And then my plan was to go to the gym, which I usually do at 6. So I said, oh, gee, I won't have much time if I come at 5:30. So we made it earlier. So I got down there 5:15. We prayed, and I made the decision that I didn't want to rush my prayer time, so I cancelled my 6 o'clock class. So this is what I'm saying in terms of allowing God to sort of interrupt your schedule, because that's something I'm really consistent with. So I did that, and then the next class, workout gym class, was at 7. So I came home probably at about just after 6, and I thought, awesome, I still have time to sit down and do my miracle morning, because it's been a part of my everyday life for the last almost 40 days. So I sat down at my desk, and where my desk is located is just at the top of our stairs on a landing, and it's right by my room, my 2 youngest daughters' room, and my oldest daughter's room, Heaven. Now, Heaven's door was shut and she was sleeping. So I was sitting at my desk, had started my reading, and it was silent. It was really quiet. Everyone was asleep. And usually at 6:30 in the morning, I'd be at the gym. I'd be training. I'd be doing a class from 6. There's 2 classes, 6 and 7, so I wouldn't even be there. But this morning I was, because I allowed a shift in my schedule to go and pray and then do my miracle morning. So I'm sitting there at about 6:30, and then I could hear from Heaven's room like noises, like little sounds, and I thought, oh, she's awake. I didn't think anything of it. I just thought, oh, she's awake. And then, because everything was so quiet, it wasn't loud, but I could just hear this consistent sound. It almost sounded like gulping, and it was kind of like consistent, like, you know, like a consistent gulp. And I thought, oh, that sounds odd. You know, what's that? And then I thought, oh, I'm just gonna, actually something in me was like, in my spirit was sort of like, oh, she all right? Like she might be struggling. And I was thinking, you know, obviously a million things can go through your mind in a split second. So I just got up out of my chair. I was still holding my book in my hand. I opened the door, and this has never happened before, but my daughter was, the only way I can explain it was like having a seizure. And I literally couldn't believe what I was seeing, because I've never experienced that before. And I just rushed over to her. She was already on her side and on her bed, and I just prayed, and obviously called out to Samuel, and he came, and we were just praying, and my parents live with us, and we were all praying, and I called the ambulance, because to be honest, it was scary. I'd never experienced that before. Didn't even really know what was really happening. In fact, when you came in, we weren't too sure whether she was choking or what was going on.
Because it wasn't a seizure as such, like she wasn't stiff and her muscles weren't tensed. But it was pretty scary. Like I was getting ready to go play basketball and that too, but I heard my wife sort of commotion. Then I just kind of went around and she wasn't, it was like she wasn't breathing or couldn't wake her up and then I just put my hands in her mouth to try and...
well, just to see if she was choking.
Yeah, her tongue was there, her teeth were so tight I couldn't even do that. So I kind of lifted her up and like tried to do the old Heimlich sort of, you know, cough it up and whatever you can think of. At the same time, like praying as well. But it was an out of it experience, and I think at that point you kind of think like, what's important? Like, you know, there's so much things happening around us.
True.
But the ones you love, your family, your kids, that's the most important thing.
True.
And so it was a reminder of that, but also a reminder of personally for me as a father, is vigilance and prayer and the covering of the home. And those sorts of things definitely rang a bell, you know.
Yeah, and
I was out of it.
it was something that we haven't experienced before. And by
she's
the
never
way,
done that.
Heaven is perfectly fine. She obviously come out of whatever that was, and we had the ambulance here. I did take her to get checked. I just wanted to.
By the time
be
she woke
thorough.
up, though, they were here, eh?
Yeah,
It was quite a long time. She was unconscious too.
I think it was, her body was obviously pretty tired with whatever that was, and we were praying, and
Yeah.
obviously,
No response from her opening her eyes or nothing.
yeah. So
was
that
out
was
of it.
scary, eh? It was not a nice
No, that
experience,
was
and
terrible.
even
Terrible, actually.
shook me a lot.
Yeah.
But in saying that, like, I just constantly thank God and thank, the Lord, that He's always there with us.
Yeah.
He's there with our children when we're not there. His protection, His covering. And even I just was so grateful that morning. Like I said, usually on a Saturday morning, I'm out the door by, say, 5:45, and I'm not back till after 8. That's my usual routine. And Sam's the same. He shoots off to basketball in the morning, so usually no one's around. And our children are all old enough now, Heaven's 14 years old, to not have to be like checking on them and making sure
Well,
they're
their
okay.
grandparents are around on that.
Yeah, but so yeah, it was a scary experience. But one thing I'm grateful for is that in that situation, I was able to gravitate very quickly in my spirit to God,
Faith,
to
yeah.
pray and to faith, and not to fear and panic and actually, like, yes, I called the ambulance. Yes, I wanted to make sure everything was okay, but I was definitely, in fact, I called the ambulance. I was on the phone talking, and I was able to remain calm. And
I was,
not
poor Heaven
panic.
was like a little rag doll. Because she was like, like the,
Oh my gosh.
what's it called? The seizure when they're like stiff. She wasn't stiff. She was like
Nah.
just a sack of spuds, mate. And I was like,
my
like,
baby.
as you do as a dad, you're fighting and doing whatever you can to.
Well, we didn't really know what we were doing.
I didn't know. Did she swallow something or?
Yeah.
Like, flip, we didn't know.
But we prayed, and you know what? I'm not gonna disregard too. Like, myself and a few of us were out praying early, and we were declaring over our city and our nation, and praying for our church and our people and the move of God. So
spiritual
I'm like, I don't rule out on a spiritual sense. Like, was that a spiritual,
Yeah.
or was that something physical? And we just thank. I just want to say thank you, and anyone listening, and people who cover us in prayer,
Yeah.
and our family. Like,
Means a
thank
lot.
you. Honestly, it really means a lot. But I'm just grateful that God interrupted my schedule, and I was obedient enough to just allow it to be interrupted. So, so that's what, when I talk about consistency, like, my hashtag no days off for my miracle morning means so much more to me now.
True.
Because I was sitting at that desk, and like I said, it wasn't a loud noise. I probably wouldn't have heard it from my bedroom, but I was right there outside her door.
Yeah.
At that moment doing my miracle morning. So that consistency of that just makes me so much more appreciative of that commitment that I made. So yes, that was a bit of a scary
That was big.
situation, and something we can share with you guys now. She's happy, she's safe.
Fine.
She was happy. She was back to herself, aside from being a little bit tired that afternoon. I have been sleeping with her every single night.
I was just going to say,
Since
although there has been a change of life,
but that's just for me, like,
it's
I
not,
just
nothing's
want
wrong. It's just
make sure my baby is safe, and
Exactly.
she's fine, and
But the greatest consistency of all that is that we have God. I couldn't imagine, like, even someone listening today, if you didn't have, what do you call out to? Or what do you go to? Yes, the practical things we put in place, but in the heart of hearts, our cries out to God is, Lord, this situation puts us into your hands, and the control of it all is only in your hands. And so that is the number one key consistency that we have, is that we'll never stop praising God. We'll never stop believing in Him, praying. We'll never stop pushing the faith forward for other families to have Christ and God in their life, because we know that of all the consistencies we have, exercise, making money, even ministry, running Man Up and Sisterhood, chuck all that down the drain, when the rubber hits the road and it comes to the crunch and your family is at stake, really that stuff is good, but it is Christ, it is the supernatural power right there and then. Everything else is to enhance and help life. Those things are to help life.
Yeah.
But the essence of life is Christ and the power he brings. And so I think consistency too is, there's priorities of consistency. Like we can be consistent at things, but they have to be building forward to the bigger picture. But one thing can be said definitely about consistency is that it'll outstrip those who are talented, who don't consistently work the thing.
Yeah.
So I've seen people come in, one's hugely talented, another just turns up. And I think consistency really comes to the statement, turn up. You said
Show
you're going to
up.
do it, so do it. You said at this time, so be there at that time. Those are all traits to consistency, and small increments of adding consistency adds to the bigger trophy at the end of the day.
That's right. Well, it compounds, doesn't it, eh? All those things
Compounded.
that you do consistently build to the bigger picture. And it may not seem like a big deal when you're doing it on the daily, but as that adds up, it builds. But I think for me, consistency, it's a commitment, so it's a decision.
Yeah.
It's not like a special trait that any of us have to be consistent. Like, oh, you're so disciplined and you're so consistent. Like, you choose to be that. Like, you make a commitment. So I am not an early morning person. I don't like getting up early. So when I made that decision that I wanted to do Miracle Morning at 5, I was like, oh, gee, that's a big commitment, Kiri. You know, like, you like to sleep in. And I remember I'd set my alarm to get up and get to my 6 o'clock workout. So I love that I've made the decision, and I continue every single day to make the decision, even nights when I've had late nights and gone to bed at like 1 o'clock in the morning for whatever reason. I'm like, oh, well, 4 hours sleep for you. You said you were going to get up every morning at 5, and so I have been. And so I think that's it. Like, in the end, we make the decision. We make the decision to be consistent in and out of season, which means during the highs, during the lows. Like, I think that's what really counts.
Yeah.
And like you said, like with your dad and your mum, like that's the example we've always had.
Yeah.
Is Bishop and Pastor Hannah, their consistency in ministry. Being family, you know, like especially for Samuel, he knows all the seasons his parents have been through in their family life, you know, whether it was challenges in the family, whether it was ministry stuff, whether it was relational things, like been through all the seasons. But one thing's for sure is they have remained consistent with the commitments they have made. We've never seen like, oh, Dad's not coming to church on Sunday because they've been going through a bit of a tough time. Like, oh yeah,
harden up, mate.
Well, not just harden up, but that's where you got to roll your sleeves up, and you got to be like, well, I'm still going to be.
You know
consistent.
what? Like, I have very minimal compassion toward that mindset, because the detriment, like, you can't have a bad day. Like, you can't afford to have a bad.
Don't have the liberties to have a bad day.
I mean, you might be having a bad day, but you're not. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I don't feel like, well, but you're going to do it anyway, because there's too much at stake. And I think people, in fact, the society we're in now is a disposable one. Like, you buy the thing and then you chuck it out. And people have this like temporary mindset. I'll try it, and
so true.
If it doesn't work or it's not thing, I'll just get rid of it and get a new wife, you know, or I'll just get a new whatever it is. And I think it's no good, because there's no consistency and there's no commitment. Even if you start a business, like if you're going to start the thing, go all in and keep pushing it until it's done. But what we have right now is people want, oh, I'll do it, and if it doesn't work for me after a month, then I'll chip out, or I'll try church, I'll get saved. But if God doesn't miracle me and upgrade me and all that, then I'll chip out. So we've actually become quite soft. We give up too much, and we throw the towel in too early. And usually the towel's thrown in for emotion, you know, just things like that. So I truly do. I have compassion for people, but I think we really need to. It's too far ago. I'm looking at the camera now. We really need to get to a point where we just got to go all the way, you know, because our family's at stake, our life's at stake. You want better finances and better faith and ministry. We just have to push through. So I think I've just consigned it to that. yes, my parents, great example, and they have been, but at some point you have to own your life and position as well, and
Yeah.
that's what me and my wife have decided, is that, look, we're going to do this,
Yeah.
we're going to push it forward, we're going to build this church, we're going to, build our family, we're going to create wealth for our family, we're going to expand the ministry of Destiny Church Gold Coast, and nothing's going to stop us, and that's the mindset that we all need to have
Yeah.
in this game.
I think a key word that you said there was emotion, is that when you feel like it, when you don't feel like it.
Yeah, exactly.
And consistency is exactly that. It's consistent when you feel like it, when you don't feel like it.
Yeah.
When you want to show up, when you don't want to show up. And like, I think for us knowing, the positions we've been in over the years and the responsibility we hold, we don't have the liberty to have a bad day and be like, I don't feel like it today. Well, too bad. Suck it up. That's the responsibility. That's the commitment you've made.
Yeah.
So show up.
And I think you have to
with
see the bigger picture too when you say that. It's not just because so and so said, or this one's doing that, or I should do it. It's seeing the bigger picture of what God's ultimate plan is for that area, or for your family, or for the church, or for your marriage. Like, you don't have the liberty to slacken off on that, because that's the glue that holds your family together. So all those little things, all those little failures that you decide on, ultimately are going to bring catastrophic harm in the end.
Well, I think consistency and that compound effect can happen in both ways. It's going to happen when you're building something with the intention for growth and positive, or when you're neglecting something.
Yeah.
It's going to compound,
Yeah.
good or bad. It's going to take the up trajectory or down.
Well, it's
and
true.
So,
like exercise.
well, yeah.
No exercise. Good food.
I missed a day. I missed a week. I missed a month. I
Good
missed
food.
6 months.
Bad food.
Yeah.
Go to church every Sunday, no matter what. Miss a few Sundays here or there.
Yeah. Hard.
Pray every now and then. I'm going to pray every day. It's just,
Yeah.
spend my money wisely and invest. Splash out every month on that thing I deserve,
True.
So it all adds up, and
True.
it does kill or give you
I
life.
think we wrap it up. I think one thing, some of you probably watching and might be thinking, cool, that sounds good, be consistent, when you feel like it, when you don't feel like it. But how do you keep consistent? Like you mentioned, like starting a business or starting something new or a new project, and you're excited and you're passionate, and then a few months down the track, it's like, are you still doing that thing? Oh, nah, I don't really feel. This is a common statement I hear people say when they've started something and haven't finished it, or they've decided to move on, or they've given up, or they've quit, is, nah, I don't really think it's for me. But really, it's I don't want to work hard, or I don't want to put the effort in. I don't want to put the time in. I want it to be easy. And so one thing I think about when people are like, oh, how do you keep consistent? How do you stay on path? I think the biggest thing is vision and clarity of the direction in which you're going. If your vision isn't clear, if you don't know what you're going for, then it's hard to stay consistent and be passionate and excited.
True that.
And initially you might start with a clear vision or clear direction or clear goals, but if you're not evolving it, like if you think about, say, our marriage, for example, we had a clear vision and a goal that we wanted to be married, wanted to be in love, and we wanted it to stay that way, right? Well, 1 year on, 2 years on, 3 years on, if we don't evolve that vision further, and it doesn't get bigger, and it doesn't expand more, and we don't have bigger goals, and we reach further. Now it's children, and then it's like raising our children, then it's seeing them succeed, then it's business, whatever. If we're not expanding that goal, and same for you, if you feel like I've lost my passion in this area, but if you're not actually expanding that vision, then you will be stuck, and you'll be wondering why there's no more fire or no more passion there. So I believe that's a huge part of, is that you've got to evolve that vision, you've got to evolve that dream so that you can actually continue to keep pushing forward and keep going.
You can't, consistency isn't perfection. So I just want to make that clear. So I'm saying this and I'm saying that.
Sure.
And, Pastor, I did, I've started diets and not finished them. But I'm just saying, it has an effect.
Me too.
The effect is this. I have to start it again. Or I have to be in the same position I was in 3 years ago. So we just got to acknowledge what it is.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is acknowledge it. Like the choices we make affect the future. So I'm not saying that consistency is perfection, but projecting, moving up on the graph of better faith in God, better family environment, better communication in marriage is moving up. It's not just crumbling down and going, oh, well, it is what it is. It's continually working, tripping over, getting back up, walking 5 steps forward, tripping over, getting back up. That's consistency. That's moving forward. Nothing is perfection. That's not realistic to say we're going to get it right every time, all the time. But it's in our mindset when we decide to fail and chip out, is that when we have a challenge in front of us. So,
True.
Cool.
Good.
It's us. It's us.
We're pretty like matter of fact, eh? Boom, 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 done.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
for
good.
me, it's hard to talk like that. And what do you? It's like rah rah. I just want to start blazing, but
Yes.
it's good.
It's good. No,
It's good.
love it, guys. Whatever you're working on at the moment, whatever your challenges are, be consistent, trust
Yeah.
the process, and be consistent to those disciplines.
Yeah.
It's not a matter of if it will change, if you're continuing to move on that same path, it will. There
Yeah.
will be changes. It's just not going to happen overnight, and it is going to take time. Trust the process. It's going to take time, but it's worth it. It is worth it. So that's us.
That's us. Boom. Doing life with Sam and Kiri. God bless. Have a wonderful afternoon, and we'll catch you next time.
See you guys.